All right. Hi, Shagun. How are you? Welcome back to part four.
Hello, Vicky. Thank you so much.
So,
How are you?
there has been a resounding applaud from all the people who are listening to the various conversations we are having about astronomy. And I became aware
Oh,
that, Shagun, your family is getting more excited than the listeners who are there. Would you like to talk a bit about that?
yeah, they are actually feeling, top of the world. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
a really best opportunity, and they like listening to us
Oh,
because
wonderful.
sharing of knowledge, sharing of intellect is actually great.
Are
Yeah,
they
so
feeling
they
proud of
appreciate
you?
a lot.
Are they feeling
Yeah, they do.
huh? Wonderful.
Yeah,
So today, what are we gonna talk about, Shagun? What about part four? What are you gonna share with the listeners today?
maybe we'll be taking some questions or something.
Oh yeah. We
We
have
can
got a lot of questions from the listeners, and I appreciate that
exactly we can.
Q&A session today. So I'll be asking you some questions, some that we have my team has selected, and we'll be asking you those questions. And please try to make us and create more awareness with regard to the topics that are there. Right, Shagun? So without
Yeah, sure. But
ado, let's jump into it. But before that, I'd like to welcome you. Let's welcome Shagun in the house.
thank you so much.
All right, Shagun. So with that, without any further ado, let's jump into it. The mic is yours. The stage is yours. We welcome you. Shagun Thakur in the house.
Thank you so much, and let's get started.
Yes. So let's first start with whatever that you want to share with regard to some of the theories that are there, and then we will jump into the question answers per se.
According well, if according to last podcast, I think we have talked a lot about literally everything that
Mhm.
is starting
Mhm.
from the origin to literally to the end of galaxy
Should
and to the
we
end
should
of
we jump
universe.
into the questions right now directly?
Yeah, sure, like we can, yeah.
Okay,
Like
wonderful.
I will add, anything if I think that I should add, then I'll add with the Q
Wonderful,
and A
wonderful.
directly.
But do talk about some of the theories, which more theories that you want to share. Anything new that you read? What is happening in the astrophysics world right now? What are your plans for the future? What is the advancement in the future? Talk a bit about that Chandrayaan 4 mission or whatever that which is happening in 2032, if you can navigate through a bit about that. So the first question that has been sent to us from the listener Shagun is, what is a black hole and what is inside this black hole?
Okay, so I think this is one of my, quite favorite or some inquisitive topic.
Mhm.
So just confirm me if my voice is cool with you.
Yeah. Wonderful.
Okay. Okay. So, black hole, if I start from a overview, then black hole is nothing but, a collapse when a huge, or we can say a mega star when collapse into its
Mhm.
own gravity,
Mhm.
and it folds and curves the space-time curvature to very much depth, to very much to infinite distance, infinitely deep, that not even light can escape.
Mhm.
So that is a black. So
Okay.
if I get more into the
Why
clarity or
is
more
it called black and why is it called a hole? Why is it a black hole?
black, because nothing can escape, not even the light.
Mhm.
So whenever if we try to if normally we try to observe it in the outer space, then we cannot see it directly because it's totally black. We cannot see
Okay.
even a light wave escaping from it, and none of the light waves actually come into our observations. That is why it is black. And hole, because
Oh.
it is kind of, it is actually a kind of hole, or you can say a big pit kind of thing into the space-time curvature. So that
Mhm.
is black and hole, because nothing is escaping, everything is getting inside of it, and no one knows what is inside of it,
Is
or
this
actually
is
what it
this
is.
similar to what you discuss about the theory of relativity in part three, where you talk about that
Exactly.
sheet theory,
Yeah, the trampoline and
something very
everything.
similar?
The trampoline we talked about is actually
Trampoline,
the
yeah.
the
Mhm.
way gravity works. Yeah, and the trampoline I talked about was nothing but the space-time curvature. Space-time
Mhm.
curvature, the universe is made up of, right? The platform where the universe and everything is holding right now
Mhm.
and existing right now. So of course, black hole is also part of universe, and black hole also exists on that same sheet, right? So of course, that black hole is also a heavier mass. Black hole is also a heavier
Uh-huh.
mass going deeper into that sheet, and curving that sheet into such a large extent that nothing can escape it.
Okay.
So this is the
So
concept of
what I
black
hear
hole.
you
If
say is
we
that
talk
whenever
about how black
there is an object in the
Mhm.
space-time
Yeah,
continuum and it creates a kind of gravity, it is dense and has a mass, it will always create a curvature in the space-time with regard to the trampoline effect.
yeah. Like if I start from the very beginning, we can understand it by the how black holes are created or how black holes are formed and
Mhm.
what are the parts of it.
Yeah, please
So let
talk a
me
bit
try.
about that. What is the formation of a black hole?
Sure. So, if from the very starting, a black hole is a result of supernova of a star, means an explosion of star, but not
Mhm.
a very, common star we do talk or we do see every time in this outer
Mhm.
universe.
Mhm.
A star that is having mass of around 2 to 3 solar masses, and
Okay.
one solar mass is equal to around about 1.9 into 10 raised to power 30 kilograms.
Oh my God.
That is one solar. So a sun or a star, which is about of 3 to 4 solar masses, when
Uh-huh.
collapse into its own gravity, has the potential to create a black hole. And what
Oh,
happens at the time of collapse is that it collapses itself into its own gravity, and all the mass and all the energy it holds is just compressed to a very infinitely small point.
okay.
And that infinitely small point can curve the space-time curvature
I think
to
as
an
per the
infinite.
conversation last time, what I remember what you mentioned was that when a star is collapsing, it becomes very dense, and this collapsing causes a kind of a vortex, and this vortex keeps sucking all the gravity, all the energy, and becomes very dense
Yeah,
and it gets so much of gravity that all the things which are around it, it keeps pulling it, and even light
yeah,
cannot,
and
so
this
it
is
becomes
the
black.
concept of black hole.
That is what you
Yeah,
mentioned
and
in
this
the
is the
mentioned
concept of
last
black
time.
hole.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly, and this is the concept of black hole. But just to mention that not every star, not the end of every star is black hole, because it depends on mass. If the star is
Mhm.
having enough mass, that is, we just mentioned that 3 to 4 solar masses or maybe more than that, then it can create a black hole on its explosion. But if
Okay.
not, then the star is gonna end up as white dwarf or red dwarf or something like our sun. Yeah, like the if
Oh.
I talk about our own sun, then
Uh-huh.
our sun is not having that much of mass that it can create a black hole in future after its collapsation or anything. It
So
will
our
end up as a white
sun,
dwarf.
whenever it collapses, it will not become a black hole.
It will never become a black hole. Like we have
Okay.
to add so much of mass into it, right? But
Okay.
the ending of a sun is like a white dwarf, something like another star.
Okay.
Yeah. So it is a kind of star
So
cycle,
white dwarf is
So in the
also
star
kind of a
cycle,
star. So white dwarf means white means ice and dwarf is small.
white dwarf,
Small ice kind of a
yeah,
planet.
a star which is out of its fuel.
Okay. Okay.
It will just it will
Pluto is no
evaporate
longer
itself.
considered a planet. It is considered a lump of ice. So
Yeah, it could be.
what are the requisites for the mass to become a planet, or for this object to become a planet in space? What are the prerequisites with regard to it?
See, whenever we are talking about star, we are always talking about nuclear fusion. So that is quite obvious that none of the star can convert itself into planet, right? We need some sort of solid formation for a planet like Earth. So the stars have that, star have that birth and ending cycle. Like a star, whenever the time limit, the time period, whenever it can continue its nuclear fusion. It can, convert that nuclear fusion into energy, into light, into heat or anything like sun, and then end up whenever it is going to, end up from that fuel, and whenever it is stopped doing that nuclear fusion kind of thing, it is going to end
Mhm.
up in a phase of white dwarf or something, and then again from the white dwarf it is getting evaporated maybe, and then entering to a star cycle and getting birth again. So then again it
Hmm.
is, converting and getting back that fuel together, and then again starting that process of nuclear fusion.
Wonderful.
So yeah, this is a cycle of,
So,
nuclear
Shagun,
fusion, then burning, and
I
then
gave you a
black hole.
statutory warning before we started the podcast
Mhm.
that we have been joined by the naughty listener. Now, this naughty listener is asking a naughty question. Now, the naughty question is, that what
The question is.
we're only talking about the black hole.
Mhm.
Why are we being so racist? Why are we not talking about a white hole? Is there something called a white space, Shagun?
Well, I don't think so. That white hole kind of thing is that I do heard of, wormhole, the kind of thing that
Wormhole.
the
Okay.
yeah, wormhole. Wormhole also, we can say that, when two black holes join together and making a portal kind of thing,
Black holes, they are
out of which
combining to form a wormhole. Oh, very nice. Right.
we'll talk about
Also,
it.
I
We are
read,
talking
I
about
think last time we were discussing this, you mentioned this thing that black holes are also considered a portal to go into multiverses. Is there some
yeah,
theory with regard to this?
yeah, there is. We talked about the black hole and how it is created and everything, right? So black hole is actually comprising of these two parts, or we can say these two components with it. That is, the first is event horizon and the singularity.
Mm-hmm.
The event horizon is something that is revolving around it. Okay, means the event horizon, we can say that the boundary wall of the black hole. Anything which is at the verge or which is at the boundary of black hole, that is at the event horizon, cannot escape from the black hole,
Oh,
from the gravity,
okay,
from the
okay,
stuck of that black
okay.
hole. Okay, and it is
Mhm.
going to end up in the situation or in the position that is called singularity. And to be
Okay,
honest, scientists don't know what singularity is, what is there in the singularity, because of course we just talked about it and we just concluded that it is nothing but infinitely curved mass or curved space. So it
okay.
could be
Now
anything.
let's
It
come to
could
the
be like
second
maybe
part of it. The
somebody
second part is
portraying from
what's
another
inside
universe.
it. What is inside it? What is
Yeah.
inside the black hole? But
That is the main
we
question.
have gone inside the
Here,
black hole, so we can never be aware what is inside the black hole, or is there some research that has been done?
well, for now, the discovery of this black hole is, of course, very new for us. And that you must have known, or you must have heard about the first picture of black hole or something. It was very recent, about in 2016 or something. So what
Mm-hmm.
is inside it needs a lot of study, and what is inside of it, if we want to study practically, it needs so much of technology, and we don't have any out of it.
We
We
have
can
no
only
awareness.
theorize the things. And according to scientists, there are so many theories that maybe singularity can be an open place, or can be a portal to so many dimensions, because right
Okay.
now we are living in 3D, right?
So
And that
this is
space
like
time
a
is concept that
hypothesis. There is no theory with regard to it. It's still a hypothesis.
it is just a hypothesis. And many sort of theories that maybe black hole is something which is giving rise, or maybe which is projecting things on the this space time curvature. So this
Mhm.
gives rise to a hologramic theory, that
Okay.
maybe we are
So
nothing but
before
just
we
a
come to the
traveling.
holographic theory, there is a question that's been asked by the listener is what happens when you travel faster than the speed of light?
What happens when we travel faster well, practically we can't really travel faster from the speed of light.
Hmm.
But just in case, if we travel to the speed of light, or maybe faster, then time seems to stop, or time seems to move slower for us.
Oh, okay.
That is the thing,
Okay.
because
I
whenever,
think this
because
has been mentioned by Einstein also in the theory of relativity, where he says that
yeah, theory of relativity.
start moving at the same speed or the speed of light, time travel becomes possible.
Mhm.
Would you like to touch upon that?
See, have you heard about that thing that Stephen Hawking thrown a party for time travelers? He
Yes.
thrown a party,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
where he welcomed
He
that,
he
and he
very
wrote.
strongly believed in the concept of time traveling because he said that it is possible.
He didn't.
Okay.
Stephen Hawking always disagreed on this fact, because
Hmm.
that's why he thrown that party. He thrown that party, and it was like, welcome time travelers. And then he quoted that time travel is not possible. That is why I'm not having any of the attendee in this party.
Who is this
That
scientist
is what.
who said that time travel is possible? Was that Einstein by any chance?
See, time travel is possible. Let us, okay, try to understand this. Okay, when we are traveling with the speed of light, right? So, or maybe at a verge of speed of light, then time seems to escape, or time seems to pass, slower than any other. Maybe we are taking Earth into
Mhm.
consideration. Then
Mhm.
time seems to pass slower. Maybe you have seen that in the movie Interstellar, where
Mhm. Mhm.
just one tick
So
was
the
about seven.
concepts that Nolan has used in his movies Are they anywhere close to the quantum physics or quantum mechanics which is there, or the theory
The
of,
concept he used was time
or
dilation.
he has also tried to create his own mini verse there? What's your take?
Mhm. The concept he used was the concept of time dilation.
Mm-hmm.
So time
Mm-hmm.
dilation is nothing but maybe a spaceship or maybe a traveler traveling very closer to something which have a lot of gravity. So the planet they shown in the Interstellar movie was Miller's
Uh-huh.
planet, which was very in close proximity to the black hole, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what was happening in the area of black hole, that the space time curvature was bending so heavily over there. So that is why time was elapsing very slower there,
Okay.
right? So at that time, they were spending just 1 minute there on that planet, but
Mm-hmm.
on Earth, it was
So
7 years.
this is
Why?
a
Because
time
the bending of
dilation.
time is
Okay.
not that much
Time.
massive.
So
Yeah, because
is there
bending
any
of
planet wherever
space-time.
we go, like for example, we have gone till Mars. Till Mars, there
Mhm.
no time dilation. Is there any planet where if we plan to go in the near future, there would be a kind of a time dilation which will start happening?
Any planet having large amount of gravity, any planet which is wrapping the space-time curvature so massively
Ah,
that it
so that means what I
it
hear
is
you say is
changing the.
that if we go into the wormhole or the black hole, and if there is
Yeah,
someone who goes and try to study them, there will be a time dilation.
exactly. Like maybe you are having a trip around the universe and you are moving with the speed of light, then time is also
And
passing slower.
how is this connected to the holographic theory that you were talking about?
Holographic theory is something different.
Mm-hmm.
It is related to a concept what black hole does, or what a black hole do with the material, or any kind of thing which is getting projected into it. So
Uh-huh.
let us get into okay, let me do one thing. I'm gonna throw something into the black hole. Maybe a spaceship is getting into entering into black
You
hole,
throw
right?
yourself.
So
Shagun is going inside the black hole. What is happening?
okay, okay, I'm going to black hole. Okay, yeah, I'm going inside black hole, and please don't think that I'm coming back.
Bye bye, Shagun. Very nice talking to you.
Bye bye. No, but I'm not going alone. I'm taking all of the listeners with me. Okay,
All the
so yeah,
listeners,
come
oh
with
my
me.
God.
We're diving inside
Don't
black
take
hole.
my listeners,
Exactly.
yeah. Okay.
I'm taking the host with me too.
I also come
You
with
have to
you.
think
Okay,
about
what is
it.
happening when we are going to the wormhole, the black hole? What is happening?
Okay, so let's dive into black hole. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So what black hole's gravity is doing to us, that it is the all of the mass and all the atoms or everything which is physically touchable or anything, everything will, because the force is so massive that
Mm-hmm.
the mass and the energy are getting splitted into some parts. Okay.
Okay.
So
Mm-hmm.
every mass and every atom and every literally every quark is rotating, is start will start rotating, or will start revolving around the black hole. That is the event horizon.
Oh,
And the
okay.
energy and what we say energy and information will go inside the black hole, that is to a place called singularity.
Okay.
So what
Mm-hmm.
scientists believe, that if we just, with some kind of technology or with maybe some kind of gadget, if we are able to take, or if we are able to interpret that energy and that mass again into something, then we can create that 3D, we can create that item again. So what that means, that maybe if I'm jumping into a black hole, so my mass and energy of course are getting split into some parts. But if in future you can interpret that my mass, maybe the mass or everything will be revolving around that event horizon, right? So
Mm-hmm.
just in case, if you can interpret that energy, interpret that information out of black hole, then you can create the same whole thing again with the help of that information. So
Oh,
what
so
it
this
says, that
recreation
information.
actually creates it creates a
Yeah,
reflection, which is a mini verse kind of a thing.
because in science, you can create anything out of information and anything out of energy.
Mm-hmm.
So what it is believed, that maybe black hole is a storehouse of the information and everything. And there is this theory comes into consideration, that is the theory of holographic universe.
Okay.
Many scientists believe that maybe we are just a projection of some former universe,
Okay. Oh, wow.
that we are being projected onto this space-time curvature by the black hole. And maybe this black hole ever sucked the whole universe, and right now it is just projecting the same thing, just I talked about this
Oh my
technology, how it does, right?
God, this was so
Maybe right now it is
profound.
just we are just being projected. So
Wow,
maybe we are
man.
nothing but just a shadow universe.
Oh
So this gives this
man,
idea of holographic theory.
we are
Yeah. So
shadow
you are just a
universe.
hologram,
Oh,
okay?
oh my God,
On this theory.
I'm a hologram. Wow, man.
Exactly.
Is there
So we are
any
just made up of
mythological
information.
explanation with regard to this? Any mythological explanation?
If I just talk about Bhagavad Gita,
Hmm.
in some of chapter, that is maybe chapter 7 or chapter 11,
Mm-hmm.
in verse 7, Krishna talked the same thing, that the universe we are living in right now is nothing but a Maya, right?
Okay.
So
Mm-hmm.
if yeah, and in many mythological, maybe in Islam also, and in many other holy books, this thing is
Mm-hmm.
written that we are nothing but Maya, and that Maya is something which is we can interpret Maya to the hologram and to the chaya and to the shadow
It
things,
is
right?
it is something very similar that was shown in the movie Matrix also, right?
Exactly. Like Matrix, I think Matrix, I haven't watched this movie, but I do have heard of it. Like Matrix do talk about the simulation that maybe we are created
Simulation,
by.
yeah. We are in a simulation, and then
Yeah.
certain people who become aware that they're in a simulation, and then they come out of the simulation to fight the people who have put them into a simulation, which is actually an alien race.
Hmm. So actually, simulation could be anything. Yeah, we could be simulated by, of course, the God theory. That is, we talked about this in our second podcast, maybe. So the God simulation and the
Mhm.
AI simulation. What kind of simulation you wanna be?
I think I'd like to
Very,
be the
a
alien
simulation
here.
very interesting.
I'm connecting with a lot of aliens nowadays, and I'm planning to go to Mars.
Mhm. Oh, you need to go to Mars. What's the reason, Vicky? Ain't you
Because
liking Earth
the
anymore?
person I've got connected to, she's from Mars only, so I have to go to Mars
Oh my God.
only.
Is that me?
No, it's a naughty alien. Not you.
Okay.
You are on
Okay,
Earth.
okay, then.
You are already going in the black hole, Shagun. We are not meeting.
Okay, bad for us. Okay, so
Okay,
what we were talking about
now
that.
let's come to another question that the listeners are asking. Very interesting question. So they are saying that
Mhm,
when we see a space engine going into space, now mainly what has been taught in science is that the space just is mainly vacuum. So
mhm.
how is the space engine getting that thrust or that force or that whatever that torque, that power to make the rocket move forward? Is that happening in space or is that happening before the space so that you can get some air also? Like how is the thrust possible in space? That is the question. Do you get that?
That is why we use a lot of fuel, right?
Hmm.
Because that is quite similar. We can, I have read it somewhere that uh, engineers do use this, solar wind also,
Hmm.
solar wind as of thrust, because any of the spaceship that we have sent in this era, like, yeah, if we talk about present, then we are actually totally dependent on the fuel thing.
Hmm.
We ain't using any kind of outer thrust or something. We can use this gravity, because but the escape velocity, of course, the escape velocity and the escape gravity things are much
Hmm.
higher. These values are very great, so we need, of course, maximum of fuel. And maybe maybe sometimes we use in the spacecraft which are supposed to be sent on some other planets. So
Hmm.
we use that solar wind's direction also. We are having the help of gravity also, that the way the gravity is flowing, or the way the gravity is just pushing the spaceship or pulling the spaceship,
But
go to the
we
same
but we
direction.
don't have
If
any
it is
thrust
moving
in
also
space,
the
right? Because the
same
space
direction.
is mainly vacuum.
Exactly, that is vacuum. So
So
I
we
don't think
have
we
to
can
create
actually
that
totally
escape
rely on the
velocity so
third
that
law or
that thrust
something.
is happening in the exosphere, and when it crosses the exosphere
Hmm.
or the escape velocity, it goes into the space and gets projected there.
Yeah.
Interesting, very interesting. And you were talking about the simulation theory with regard to Bhagavad Gita and all. What else are you sharing with regard to that?
Well, I was having this in mind, that if we should talk, if we are going to talk about anything related to mythology, then I can relate this thing with, Hinduism and
Even
this
I
Bhagavad Gita.
remember in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad when I read it, there is this
Yeah.
concept which is written that whatever that you see around you is nothing but a projection of your own self, own mind, body,
Okay.
self, which is there deep within you, because we are a combination of the Panch Bhuta or the Panch Tattva, which is your
Yeah.
wind, water, fire, ether, the five elements. And these five
Yeah.
elements, how they are inside you, in whatever
Mhm.
proportions they are there inside you with regard to your intellect, your mind, body, soul, and self, your consciousness and all, it comes out as a projection in front of you. So every person, whatever world that they see, is nothing but their own projection. What's your take?
Exactly. Well, actually, this is, kind of true, because if we are going in the same topic, but taking it mythologically, then actually it takes a lot of consciousness to know and to learn about such things.
Mm-hmm.
And just like I talked about this Krishna consciousness and everything, then in the verse he also said that this is everything you see is Maya. And you must have heard of the recent tweet or recent speech of Elon Musk, where he said that everything is just a simulation.
Who mentioned
I'm
that?
not getting the perfect word he said.
Who mentioned?
Elon Musk.
Elon Musk. Okay.
Elon Musk. Yeah. He also said the same thing, that we are in a simulation, we are in a video game, or
Okay.
anything like that. So you
Mm-hmm.
can actually think of thing, because the universe right now we are existing in, and actually only the planet, if we talk about the positioning and everything, is so accurate, and it seems like so much calculated to, which is favoring our existence and favoring our origin and favoring our birth. It actually seems quite calculated. Yeah.
Okay.
Just we talked about in our first and second podcast. So
Mm-hmm.
such gravity, perfect balance of gravity, perfect balance of sun and earth distance, so that we ain't gonna burn again. And
Mm-hmm.
perfect distance from the stars, perfect distance from literally everything, perfect distance from existing black holes right now. So it actually, sounds kind of calculated. So that is why
Okay.
people generally get this idea that maybe we are in a calculated simulation, maybe we are in an AI simulation. And there are some theories, or maybe there are some facts that people give. I recently heard this podcast of Neil deGrasse Tyson,
Mm-hmm.
where he was talking about the same thing, that why. So the question arises that why AI, or why any kind of intelligent simulation ever thought of creating us. So he highlighted that fact that maybe the time travel is not possible for any kind of universe, or maybe in any universe. So they just wanted to see that how the how a baby universe will form itself, or how a baby universe, or how a baby
Oh, wow.
planet or baby life can come into
So we are
consideration, or
like
come
a
in.
test tube. We are like test tube
Yeah,
experiments.
exactly. So maybe they are
Okay.
just, creating whole kind of universe into thing, just to have a look that how our ancestors were formed or something. Or
Oh,
maybe they
wow.
just want to look into the future. Exactly.
Wow.
So there are so
And
many theories
so,
which
so
kind of
it's a good
convince
thing.
us.
It's a good thing that time travel
Mhm.
is not possible, even for those people. Else we would have not come
Yeah.
up. It's a good thing.
Because as of now, time traveling actually breaks some laws of physics, right? For
Okay.
that, we have to travel faster than light, or maybe at this, and anything
Same
which is
speed of
having
light,
mass,
yeah.
that is you and me,
E is equal to
it
mc
can't travel
square. So the
faster.
mass when becomes
Exactly.
c, it will be E is equal to m cube.
Yeah. So, whenever you're increasing speed of something, or maybe
Hmm.
the energy, or maybe the mass, then of course the things and the proportionally, or in proportionally, you cannot just it actually deny the fact that we can travel with the speed of light. So, and
Hmm.
if we are talking about, existing in this universe, which actually governs, because our universe right now is governing on these few laws of physics we talk about. So of course breaking of any of this laws of physics means we are breaking the whole whole existence of us.
Hmm.
And that is the same thing, that maybe in singularity all of these laws don't work at singularity, and
So
that
this
is
is
why
great.
we
In part
consider.
three, we discussed about a lot of nuances with regard to the holographic theory, the simulation
Mhm.
theory, the black hole, what is inside a black hole, what is the miniverse, what are the holograms and all, whether we are the simulation or not, and something with regard to Bhagavad Gita and the ancient Hindu scriptures. So thank you so much, Shagun.
Yeah.
Hope you enjoyed this part 4. We are looking forward to part 5. We're gonna go deeper
Okay.
in more concepts. What will that be? If you can share a bit with the listeners.
What will that be? I
I
think
think
we will talk about the
I think
wildest
you told me
ideas.
that you wanted to talk a bit about the certainties of the parallel world or the multiverse and
Yeah, that is because you talked
theories.
about
What
a
are those
string
other
theory at
theories
some
that you
point.
want to bring to the conversation?
That how the string theory and how this Heisenberg's principle actually,
Mhm.
govern these
Mhm.
facts that maybe parallel world or multiverse are existing right with us,
Wonderful.
and maybe how different timelines. Yeah, there is this theory of different different decision theory, that whatsoever decision we are taking is giving rise to the different sort of universe, different sort of possibility. So that is
Oh,
possibility,
it is like
possible
a
universe or
butterfly
possible
effect.
timeline theory.
So if the butterfly
Yeah,
is
exactly.
flashing the wing,
Or maybe webbed universe, of course.
webbed
you know
universe and all. Wonderful.
yeah, so we'll be talking
So
about a lot
listeners,
maybe.